You know, for too many years, our state has watched company after company expand, invest in other states and even other countries. Indeed, our state for many years didn't offer a competitive business environment. We weren't aggressive enough in our economic development efforts. And because we were lagging in our economic development efforts for 25 years, we exported our sons and daughters, the only state in the South, to send our sons and daughters to other states to pursue their dreams. Indeed, we had to watch major cities like Houston, Dallas, and Austin take our best, our most ambitious students, our sons and daughters, who went on to great careers, but they weren't pursuing those great careers right here in New Orleans, right here in Louisiana. As Louisiana stood by, our population wasn't growing like it should, our economy wasn't growing like it should. 4 years ago, we set out to reverse that trend. I promised the people of Louisiana we would create a new Louisiana. We would turn around our economy, and thanks to their hard work, we have seen a turnaround in our state and in our economy. You know, today I'm proud to say that instead of lagging the economy, Louisiana is leading the economic recovery in the South and the country. Our economic performance has outpaced the national and southern averages every single month for the last 4 years in a row. We have added jobs at twice the rate of the South and America overall. Indeed, we're one of the first states coming out of the recession, along with Texas, the only 2 states in the South with more jobs than we had when this national recession started in the first place. Most importantly, for 4 years in a row, after 25 years of losing our people, 4 years in a row, we've now had more people move into Louisiana rather than leave the state. But it's not just overall economic growth. We've also seen great growth in vital areas like information sector jobs. Louisiana now ranks number 2 in the country for job growth in the entire country ever since we enhanced our digital media tax credit programs back in 2009. We're now number 2 in the country for absolute job growth and percentage job growth in key areas like digital media and software development, as well as telecommunications. In order to get that done, we had to do things differently in Louisiana. To keep our jobs here, to create new ones, we had to improve our business climate. For example, we revamped our ethics code, going from 44th worst to number 1, according to the Center for Public Integrity. We cut taxes, the largest income tax cut in the state's history, revamped our workforce training programs, and cut our spending. Combined, these reforms have given our state one of the best business climates in the country. We are now at the highest rated rankings. When you look at all the different national publications that rank business climates, we're now at the highest ever rated rankings in each of those rankings. For example, I'll just give you a few examples. We jumped 14 spots in the latest Forbes rankings of best states for business. Site selection improved our ranking from 25 2 years ago to number 7. Area development said Louisiana ranks number 6 among the top states for doing business. Business facilities ranked us at number 7. They also named Louisiana their State of the Year in 2010. Site selection and Paulina have named Louisiana the most improved state in the entire country. Southern Business Development magazine has now named Louisiana their State of the Year in the South for 3 years in a row. The bottom line is there's a longer list of these types of ratings and rankings. But the bottom line is we are indeed creating a new state, creating a new business development where our sons and daughters can stay home to pursue their dreams. We've announced economic development wins totaling over 46,000 jobs, over $10.5 billion in private capital investment. And I talked to you earlier about Mitch and Michael and the local, and I said we've got many of our council members. I'll ask the mayor to introduce his council as well. We've got great local partners here in the greater New Orleans area. It's not just across the state. You look at some of the economic wins right here in Louisiana. For example, Blade Dynamics, Folgers, the Receivables Exchange, and nearby Nucor, New Star Energy, and many, many others, helping to create new jobs in New Orleans and in southeast Louisiana. I want to talk about Louisiana I want to talk about New Orleans for 30 seconds. I know the mayor's got many more comments he'll add to this, but I want to just talk a bit about the renaissance we're seeing in the city of New Orleans. We're seeing a city that surely is steeped in centuries of peerless culture, shipping leadership, energy production, and extraordinary quality of life. And as rich as that history is, it's creating an even greater future for our sons and daughters. We're seeing a city rise to a new era, one in which New Orleans will shine as a beacon of career opportunities in good-paying sectors like technology and jobs of the future. This new New Orleans will combine the best of our past and the most promising jobs of the future. And that gets me to why we're here today. We're here to add yet another outstanding company to the growing list of companies who are expanding in Louisiana because of our strong business climate and helping to make New Orleans stronger and better than ever before. I'm thrilled to announce that GE Capital will create 300 new high-paying, high-tech jobs right here in the city of New Orleans. Let's give the GE team a great round of applause. these jobs, now I talk about good-paying, high-tech jobs. These will create IT jobs with salaries ranging from $60,000 to $100,000 plus benefits. In addition, by the end of 2015, when this technology center is fully staffed, their total payroll will be in excess of $28 million, even before benefits. These jobs in software development and technology will support GE Capital operations company-wide, creating the best financial and customer relationship products for GE Capital staff, ensuring that one of the most successful commercial and consumer lending companies in the world can serve its customers better than anyone else. Now, to win this highly competitive project, Louisiana and New Orleans literally beat out hundreds of other cities across the country. I want you to think about that. They could have gone anywhere else, and they chose to come right here. When you look at the direct jobs, and also the indirect jobs are another 301 indirect jobs as well. What this means for the economy. The IT Center of Excellence will initially occupy about 50,000 square feet of office space. These new 300 jobs create another 301 indirect jobs. You think about what this is going to do to our economy, the ripple effect as those dollars are spent in this economy. In addition to bringing high-quality information jobs from multiple out-of-state sites, the GE Capital project is a significant win in our ongoing efforts to create new major corporate operations right here in Louisiana. Last year alone, we've landed major headquarters expansions with Fortune 500 CenturyLink, Louisiana's newest Fortune 500 company headquartered in the state, and it's also the nation's third largest telecom company. We've also had Schumacher Group, the nation's third largest emergency medicine management company, expand their operations here as well. Like GE Capital, these companies see the value of investing in our state. They can see the tremendous commitment we have, not only to creating the best business climate, but to creating the best workforce, the best career opportunities of the future for our children. I want to talk to you just a little bit about the investment we as a state are going to make to help not only make sure that GE is successful, but other high-tech employers are successful in this area as well. To underscore our commitment to creating a center of IT excellence here in New Orleans, as part of this package, we're also announcing today a 10-year commitment from the state to fund a special software development curriculum right here in the city. The state will be committing $5 million over the next 10 years to partner with our higher education leaders to build the best software development curriculum available anywhere. We're going to be working with GE Capital, including the very best elements of a technology education that will make New Orleans a true magnet for the information sector, truly benefiting not only GE, but the city as well. We have seen great digital media wins right here in New Orleans. Companies like EA, well, not just in New Orleans, but across Louisiana. We've seen companies like EA, GameLoft, Pixel Magic, Moonbot Studios, BitRaider, Firebrand Games, and many, many others. And now we're also showing, in addition to attracting digital media wins, we're also showing that we can bring software development companies here as well as the information sector and others in the corporate world. The bottom line is we're not going to rest until Louisiana is known as a major hub of corporate headquarters and software and technology centers of excellence. As I close, I just want to remind you, this is a great win today, obviously. And as your governor, and it has been such a great joy to participate in so many great economic development wins for this region. We've announced now 30 major economic development wins, creating over 14,000 jobs, over $5 billion in capital investment. Everything from Nucor, which will create up to 6,000 jobs, $3.4 billion investment. Bradkin, 394 jobs. Blade Dynamics over at the Michoud facility, a total of 1,570 jobs. GameLoft, 150 jobs. And the list goes on and on and on. But the reality is today's announcement is even more special. When you think about the quality, the company that is reflected in the brand name carried by GE, and you think about the quality jobs that they're bringing to New Orleans and to Louisiana, every economic development win is important. Every job creation announcement is important for the hundreds of families that are impacted. Today's announcement is especially important for the city of New Orleans and the state of Louisiana. I predict for you today is going to be one of those inflection points we're all going to look back on in the future and remember this as one of those critical turning points for this great city. A city with a great, great history, but an even brighter future. As we think about the different types of industries and jobs, these are the types of jobs we want our children and grandchildren to aspire to. And now they don't have to go to Austin or Atlanta or Houston. They can stay here right at home. They don't have to choose between raising their families with their parents and their family and their aunts and uncles or having that great career. Now they can do both. They can do that right here in this great city. I want to close with a very important point. You know, I talked about all the economic development wins we've enjoyed, the fact that our unemployment rate's been below the national and southern average every month now for 4 years. And we've done a lot of things to make Louisiana a great place in which to create jobs. I want to close. Every time I get a chance to speak, there's one topic I must talk about. If we want to continue with these kinds of exciting economic development wins, it is so important that we improve education for every student, for every child in Louisiana. And that is why we have made education reform our top priority going into this new year, into this second term. The reality is we have seen that we've got a great business climate. We have cut taxes. We have got a great workforce development program. We've got great incentives. But our most important selling point is our talented, skilled, and educated workers. If we want to continue to outperform the southern and national economies, we have to have the most educated, the most productive, the most intelligent, the most creative, the most dedicated workers and people you will find anywhere. The states and the countries that figure that out are the states that will prosper in this new economy. And that's why it's so important to improve education here in Louisiana. Capital is exactly the type of company we want to come and invest here in Louisiana, but we must understand our economy and our education system are intricately linked. These kinds of jobs of the 24th century workforce will diversify our economy and keep our kids here at home. But if we want to continue to grow our economy, continue to bring these kinds of jobs here, we have to improve our educational system. That is the only way we will continue to make Louisiana the home to rapid economic development, more business investment, more jobs for our people. Certainly we're going in the right direction. Retention, graduation rates are improving. You can see amazing things happening right here in the city of New Orleans. 80% of our students are in charter schools, both charter and traditional schools, doing better than ever before, certainly better than even the years before Katrina. But we've got more work to do, not only in New Orleans, but especially across our entire state. The reality is, even though we're moving in the right direction, 44% of our schools are getting D and F grades on our new letter grade accountability system. Too many of our kids are below grade level. That's why we have proposed a comprehensive plan to give more choices to families, to reward great teachers, to give school leaders the flexibility they need with funding and personnel. The bottom line is that, yeah, we've outperformed the southern and national economies. If we want to continue to do that, we must make education reform a priority. I want to close by, and before I ask Brackett Denniston to come up here, I just want to, on a personal note, say this. You know, we do get involved with a lot of economic development projects, and we have a chance to talk to a lot of corporate leaders across the entire country. And when talking with Brackett and just talking with the GE team, I want to say this about them. They looked at a lot of sites, they looked at a lot of cities, and they did what was best for their company. Make no mistake about it. They wanted to make sure we had a competitive economic package here. They wanted to make sure they could find good workers here. They wanted to make sure that they could succeed as a company here, and I think that they represented their shareholders. They did their fiduciary responsibilities extremely well. But going all the way up to Jeff, going all the way up to the CEO of this great company, with a great history, by the way, and not only in our country, but now around the world. One of the senses you got, though they never said it quite explicitly, was they were really looking for a way to make this work in Louisiana. And again, I think they're only here because they know they can be successful here, and we were competitive. But every time we talked to them, you got the sense they absolutely want to be a part of the success story in New Orleans and Louisiana. So I'm especially grateful to their commitment. And this has been a long time in coming. I'm especially grateful for their commitment and today's announcement. I will say this one last way, and Brackett, only a New Orleans crowd would appreciate the sacrifices you're making. I teased him. I said, look, you're making the announcement the Friday before Mardi Gras. Certainly you're staying for a couple of days. He is literally getting on a plane to fly away from here as soon as we're done here. That shows you how seriously this man takes his job. I told them there are a lot of corporate executives telling their companies they had to do business in New Orleans today. There are a lot of company accounts paying for trips coming into New Orleans today. And we don't mind that, by the way. That is good for our hospitality. I'm not discouraging that at all. But there are not many corporate executives who took the time to fly to be here and then are immediately leaving to go back to work. That shows you his commitment to his company, and that shows you just how hard he works for GE every day. This wouldn't happen. We wouldn't be here without the personal involvement, the personal leadership of Brackett Denniston. He has become a good colleague, a good friend to me personally, to the state of Louisiana. Please give a great New Orleans welcome to our newest corporate citizen right here in the city of New Orleans, GE Senior Vice President, General Counsel, Brackett Denniston.
We're here. We're here. We are here.
And we love it. Now, I have a little confession to make before I start. The governor even believed that story about my flying someplace. Well, the truth is I have to. And good afternoon and thank you. Thank you all for a warm Louisiana and New Orleans welcome. It has meant a lot to us throughout this entire rigorous process that we've been through. We think it's a great day for New Orleans and Louisiana, but it's also a great day for GE, a 130-year-old company that's committed to America and to what's best in America. And this place is what's best in America. I can tell you that, and we saw it in this competition. It's also great to be here during one of America's most renowned and joyous celebrations, that little thing called Mardi Gras that's going on out here. We announced today, as the governor mentioned, a decision by GE to locate GE Capital's first technology center. It's the culmination of a long process that we go through when we do this kind of thing, an extensive search, a rigorous search, and we think we picked the best location we could pick in New Orleans and in Louisiana. Beginning in 2010, we reviewed many options on this path. The governor mentioned dozens. As you can imagine, we were not without people who wanted us to come and locate this technology center in their states and in their cities. It's one that offered high-tech, high-paying, great jobs on the cutting edge. But with the leadership of the governor and the mayor, Senators Vitter and Landreau, and the rest of the delegation, it really was a team effort, and you don't see that every place. You see a lot of division. With that leadership and just kind of extraordinary attention to service, that meant a lot. It meant a lot to us, and they made a persuasive case. We found it to be a great and supportive environment with fantastic people, and what's most important in this kind of competition, fantastic enthusiasm. So we didn't just have smart people, we had people that were enthusiastic. What was really also important to us, and I mentioned this to the mayor and Senator Vitter and the governor when we were chatting before this, was that we also talked to dozens of people. We talked to business leaders, people we knew, some people we didn't know. We talked to colleges and universities because getting high IT talent's important to us. We talked to leaders in the community here in New Orleans and in Louisiana. And what we heard was uniformly that people were thrilled to do business here. Thrilled is the word I use. And believe me, there are lots of places still in this country where we don't hear that same sort of enthusiasm from the business community. And they were thrilled as well to be part of what the governor correctly called the Renaissance of New Orleans. This is one of America's signature cities and one of America's signature states. And we very much want to be part of that fantastic renaissance, But more importantly, it wasn't just because we wanted to be part of the renaissance, it was the right business decision for make to us. New Orleans and Louisiana are committed to creating growth, and when New Orleans works, GE works. Our new facility will bring 300 new high-paying jobs, as the governor said, IT and software jobs, over a period of 3 years. This will help New Orleans expand its burgeoning IT community and will allow us to better serve our customers and employees all over the world and build on our already strong presence here in Louisiana, 1,300 jobs. The work done in the center will help us to build better applications, better software to use with desktop computing, mobile transactions, and a variety of other things that we do in GE Capital. We recently launched a campaign, and Senator Vitter and others were present during the week as we went through this campaign announcement, something called GE Works, hence the use of that term earlier. And GE Works is all about competitiveness in America and competitiveness for jobs. We had a 4-day session in Washington this week. Day 1 was the rebirth of manufacturing in America. Day 2 was innovation. Day 3 was you got to export to compete. You got to be present globally. And Day 4 was veterans. This is the capstone of that week. This is day 5, a manifestation of what we emphasized. It's part of the 13,000 new jobs we've created and are creating since 2009 in the United States. We also announced this week a commitment to hire 5,000 veterans over the next 5 years. And we hope some of those veterans get hired right here in New Orleans. We also announced that we were doubling the number of engineering interns that we take each year, and that's 5,000. We're going from 2,500 to 5,000 interns that we are going to take every year so that we train the next generation of engineers, the next generation of IT talent to be the best in the world as they are. Today's a great example of governments and the private sector working together on jobs. I want to start by thanking our team, Charles Galda. He's the guy who's going to run this baby, and he's the one who's gone from city to city, and he says there's no question the best food is right here. Deb Elam, who's our head of diversity and a New Orleans native. Christy Borski over there, who did all the hard government relations work. Russell Wilkerson, who's over there in the corner. He's the press guy, you know, and they try to hang in the corner, but they all worked hard to make this a reality. But I also like to thank, and I'm not going to get through every name here, I want to thank the government community for all that they did in making this a reality. Governor Jindal, you and Stephen Murray were amazing. We see a lot of people who do this for a business, and you guys were amazing. And the same goes for the city, Mayor. You introduced this idea. You put this seed in Jeff Immelt's mind a couple of years ago, and you've seen it through to fruition. And we got a lot of help along the way from Senator Vitter, Santalandro, others, who, when we had questions, helped us work through the questions, helped us get back to you, and then hear the right answers. So I think we've had unparalleled government support and enthusiasm for this project, and I want to thank you all for that attention to this. It is, as I said when I started, a big deal. This is a day for celebrations, and celebrate we will in the city that celebrates best in the world, New Orleans. Thanks for your welcome, and we look forward to it.
Brackett, thank you so much. It's just, what a day. I mean, folks, this is a big win. This is a game changer for the city of New Orleans and for the state of Louisiana. And so, Governor, let me begin by, again, thanking you and your team for your incredible effort. Brackett, Jeff Immelt, who is unfortunately not able to be with us today, is just one of those great American business leaders that is going to lead this nation back to strength and prosperity, and had so much to do with this. Deb Elam, who we introduced a little while earlier, y'all didn't hear me, but she's an Ursuline girl from New Orleans, Ursuline Academy. To Michael, Mr. Henry Coxum, who is here, that chairs the NOLA Business Alliance, is with us. I also wanted to thank, because I don't think they were able to make it today, Pat Quinlan and the Oshner family, which is one of GE's big customers in Louisiana, actually introduced many of us to each other a couple of years ago when we were doing the anniversary of Katrina. And that's where we all first made acquaintance and got the chance just to talk a little bit about what the possibilities might be if GE took a look at Louisiana. And today is hopefully one of the steps. So maybe let's call it the first step.
Okay. I'm with you.
All right, you hearing me? And of course, Amy Quirk, who's the economic development of the city, worked very closely with Michael and Stephen and the entire team. And of course, the governor didn't have a chance to introduce them individually, but our council members and my partners are with us today. Jackie Clarkson, our council president, John Johnson, who's chair of the Economic Development Committee, Eric Grandison, who is the councilman at large, and Susan Guidry have been just incredible partners in making New Orleans a place where people want to do business. So thank all of you for all the work that you have done in this as well. And so I thank you all for that. in some ways, I don't really know where to start when you have such a spectacular announcement like this, because today's announcement really is an affirmation of everything that is good about what it is that all of us have been trying to do. So as the governor alluded to a moment ago, and as did Brackett, this is an all-hands-on-deck effort. You know, a lot of people have really worked hard since that first conversation that I whispered in Jeff Immelt's ear about, you know, don't you think GE wants to be part of the great story of resurrection and redemption in America? Don't you think that you want to be involved in the city of New Orleans helping America find herself again by trying to find a way to put people back to work? And, you know, I think that he was captivated by that idea. I knew that he was a smart business guy, as did everybody up here. And as the governor said, and as Stephen said, this has got to work for companies. This is not a gift. And we had to compete for it. And so the first order of business is that everybody up here, across lines, business to government, across political lines, Democrat, Republican, went to work. And the thing that was different about this project is that this time everybody went to the ball on their own and together. And through whatever portal they knew, they went to the ball, and they wanted GE to know about what the great story of what was happening in Louisiana and New Orleans was. And they gave us the great opportunity to make the pitch to them. So that can't be lost on the people of New Orleans or Louisiana. This was an international competition. This was a competition where I think 12 other parties competed, and GE, one of the biggest countries, one of the biggest companies in the country, and one of the most well-respected companies in the world, chose New Orleans. They chose us. And they chose us because they thought that we were capable, and we knew we were capable, of providing for them an opportunity for them to give a great return to their shareholders, and for us to create jobs for the people of New Orleans. That is an amazing story that everybody should just be so proud of in the city of New Orleans, because I have said many times, as has the governor, if we have a chance to compete, if you just give us a level playing field and you let everybody here put their best foot forward, we will show time and time and time again that we are as good as anybody else in the country and perhaps anybody else in the world. And on top of that, just to put a little cherry on top of the king cake. You know what a king cake is?
I do.
All right, good.
I do. I get one every year. From my good friend Jim Irwin down the street.
I love it. These are not just any jobs. So as the governor talks about education and building, making sure that our schools are creating a pipeline to give our children a great opportunity, again, shouldering on the work that's been done in New Orleans in the last couple of years, where 80% of our kids are in schools where the achievement gap is closing, which is great. These are jobs that are based on a knowledge-based economy. So for many years, you have heard people say, we've got a great tourism industry, and that's wonderful. We've moved into the film industry. That's great. We've got the LSU, we've got the University Medical Center moving in the right direction. And many of us have said the future of New Orleans is in knowledge-based jobs, trying to find a way to add value to knowledge. And here comes GE and says, not only are you okay, you're as good, or if not better, than anybody else in the country. And these are 300 jobs that are rooted in a knowledge-based economy. Here, the future of America, right? And your city can do this better than anybody else. So I'm ecstatic about that. The governor ran through a number of different statistics just to give you, again, some ideas. Folgers, 120 jobs in 2010. Blade Dynamics, TCI. In 2000, Game Loft. We had a Tiger Grant for the port. Just in 2011, in New Orleans, all right, we had 55 retail openings for stores. People talked about bringing retail to New Orleans. We're well on the way to that. Forbes magazine has called New Orleans the biggest brain magnet. Forbes has listed us the #1 metro for IT job growth in the USA, #2 best big city for a job. Reuters said this was Silicon Valley on the bayou. Southern Business and Development said it's 2011 major market of the year. The Wall Street Journal said that New Orleans was the most improved city for business. Last year, our property values went up 10% and our unemployment rate went down. This is a city that's on the move. And this is not a story that we're just telling. This is a story that just got a big exclamation point from one of the most well-respected companies in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, a big win. A transformational day for the city of New Orleans that, as the governor said, will put an asterisk on the day that New Orleans started to lead the nation. Thank you all so much, and I appreciate it.